Welcome back to the Tailgate Connect podcast. I'm your host, Luke Lorick with Tailgating Challenge. I love all things tailgating. And today we're going to talk to a very special tailgating personality. He is literally a doctor of tailgating and teaches a tailgating class at the University of South Carolina. You're going to want to learn more about what Andy has to say about his class and tailgating in general. Stay tuned.
Tailgaters, hear the call, it's game day, y'all. Let's have a ball across the states from college to NFL. Tailgate Connect's got a story to tell.
All right, welcome to the latest Tailgate Connect podcast episode. I am here tonight with the one, the only, maybe the only, a doctor of tailgating, Andy. Thanks for joining the show. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Luke, we're doing great. It's glad to see you. Glad to be a part of the show.
Heck yeah, man. So again, when I say I'm not saying this in jest for those that are like a doctor of tailgating. Are you being serious? And so I will say, first I'll say, go Gamecocks. I got my shirt on right now for those watching this on YouTube. So I had the pleasure of meeting Andy, who literally was a professor of tailgating at the University of South Carolina. Andy, did I hit that right?
Absolutely. It's something I've been doing for over the past 30 years is investigating the phenomenon of tailgating. So it's been great to do it. The university's been very supportive, and people like yourself have been just great.
So I feel like someone's probably out there right now, because obviously we have a lot of people that love tailgating listening to the episode, and they were like, how does one become a doctor in the sport of tailgating? Tell us about your journey a little bit on how you got to be a professor of tailgating.
Well, it's funny, Luke. I think I did like a lot of people who worked in athletics. I started my career coming out. I worked as a coach for a number of years. Then you move into administration, and anybody that works in the education sector, you keep going back to school to keep bettering yourself, to become a little more skilled in what you do. And once I made the big move from athletic administration, sport management, over to the education teaching people side, we began to notice that this phenomenon of tailgating was really growing. And as an administrator, we began to be curious, what are our responsibilities? And that's how it all started. We were just thinking, I've got 55,000, or in the case of South Carolina, 110,000 people out in these parking lots before a game. What are my responsibilities? What do I have to do? And as an educator and as an administrator, you start following that path. And that's how it all started.
Now, before all of that, before the educational aspect of it, were you an avid tailgater, like growing up in life? Did you already have a little bit of that passion in your heart for it?
I think we all did a little bit of tailgating. I think it was one of those things that I didn't get to experience a lot of because I was participating in the activity. So,
Sure.
Saturday was a game day, or Friday night was a game day, a work day for me. So we didn't get to do a lot of that. But once I pulled out of the, as I call it, the on the field part, I began to experience what tailgating was like. And when we first started doing this, it wasn't as large of a scale as what we have today, but it was fun to see. And so yes, I quickly found this is great fun. I enjoy this. What more can we learn about this? And again, then we launched into studying how to make it better, fast, more fun, safer, all that good stuff. So yeah, I've always loved to do it. I love to cook. So it just was a natural fit for me.
Excellent. So for those that are tuning in too, they probably want to know, what does a class, like if they're like, I was going to go sign up for the University of South, everybody's enrolling in University of South Carolina right now. Again, we got some good tailgaters there, no doubt about it. But what is that class? What does the curriculum look like for one of the students that would take a class on tailgating?
Well, it's funny because I get that question a lot. Is what do you do in a class about tailgating?
Sure.
So if you kind of take into general the comments I've made, the first thing we try to do is we use tailgating as a vehicle to teach all the different aspects of sport management. So that gives us a constant example to use in a class. So we start out immediately looking at what's the history of tailgating? What are the sociological implications? In other words, why do people want to go sit in the parking lot in Columbia, South Carolina when it's
Right.
105 degrees at noon on August 31st?
Sure.
What drives them to sit out there and do that for that period and have a great time? We immediately then, as I mentioned, we shifted to the legal focus. So we'll look at that. We'll look at the marketing implications, how that allows us to sell our programs, encourage more fans or customers, if you want to get on the management side, to come into it. So
Sure.
we look at all those different aspects, how to manage the tailgating event itself. What are the financial implications? And you couldn't have a good tailgating class without looking at food. So we do
Of course.
incorporate all of that into our class. And next thing you know, it's been 16 weeks of really fun but intense study of a topic and breaking it down. And we like to think this helps the students learn how to think about things, how to analyze phenomenon and situations, so that not only in tailgating, but now in any aspect of their business or their life, they can look at it and start seeing all these different components that are involved with it. So that's how the class goes, and we have a great time doing it.
I I can imagine so. So when did the class like start? Like what was the first year that it was like we have a tailgating class at University of South Carolina in year blank?
Well, if I have my years right, it was during the pandemic.
Okay.
We
So
had
2020-ish.
Yes, and we had that was the first official year that we had the class on the books. We offered it through the Honors College, so that gives you the idea of the kind of the academic rigor we build into it.
Wow.
But we were offering it through the Honors College, and then here come all the things with the pandemic. We just rolled that into the class. Here's another aspect of hosting an athletic event or any event for really, and disaster strikes. What do you do? And so we went from tailgating as you and I know it to home gating to backyard
Yep.
gating and talked about all those aspects of it. So we made it work, but that was the first year. So I think 5 years or 6 years into it at this point. It's been a great time. It fills up instantly. I think
That was my
despite
question.
what
Like,
it,
is there ever an open seat or does it just like these things just pop off and people grab the seats quickly?
no, it fills up in a hurry. The Honors College here at University of South Carolina always has limited seating
Okay.
because these are seminars for these students who are just super, super kids, super smart
Sure.
and inquisitive. So it fills up really quick. So I have majors from both sport management, the business school, you name the field, they're going to be in there. And it makes it for really nice conversations because it's coming from
Yeah,
all these different angles.
no doubt. How big is a normal class size for one of these classes?
Anywhere from 20 to 22. I've told them I can handle more if they would like at times. So, but usually that's going to be about right. That way we can have the discussion on every. The class met on Mondays and Wednesdays for, I think it was about an hour and 45 minutes. So what we would do is on Wednesdays, those are food days. So in
Sure.
addition to having the normal class topic, that was the day we talked about how do you set up your tailgate, your actual tailgate, and
Right.
then what about the foods? And we used that to talk about everything from food safety to preferences to sustainability issues. So we even tried to weave that into it, feed them. I figured about 22 is all I can afford to feed. So
Sure. What are some of the foods? Like, are you all cooking the foods and like prepping them like on a grill in the parking lot? Am I being crazy with my view of a class just sitting in a parking lot learning about tailgating, or is that happening?
well, it has happened that way. What we tried to do is talk about I'm a firm believer in the type of food that you prepare and serve at the tailgate. It's got to add to the feel of the tailgate. And part of that is just convenience. So we do a lot of things that can be handheld, easily eaten with one hand. So we would learn how to prepare those foods, and I would have different people help me prepare things during the week. So we kind of tried to keep that focus in and gosh, I know we had a variety of sandwiches that we would serve. Those are easy. Walking tacos are easy to do. We would have Frito chili pie, if you can imagine. So, and then, but I let the kids incorporate, what do you think should be there? What do we have? And then, so we put it together that way.
Excellent. Excellent. Again, as always, you're making me hungry, right? For some of
I'm
this
always
tailgating
hungry.
grub out there. So, is there just one offering for this class? Or are there multiple classes with it?
No, it's just the one offering, but at the University of South Carolina, we're lucky. My program, sport management, sport and entertainment management, we're housed in the College of Hospitality, Sport, and Retail. And when we have within that college, we're now able to offer a culinary degree or program. And one of the classes we've added to that is strictly a tailgating culinary section, where we help those students learn to prepare as if they were a professional working on a tailgate scene. So even from the business side of this, we're
Okay.
we're attacking tailgating, so to speak. And it's a popular class. It's a 1 hour class as part of the culinary program, and our chef here that teaches that class does a great job. He and I have coordinated classes before, so it works out really well. We have fun.
I can only imagine. Is tailgating and really good food with good people? It's like, what's not fun about that? I feel like. Let me ask you this question: is the University of South Carolina the only school you're aware of that offers this like a tailgating style class?
I'm pretty sure we're the only one in the country to offer the style class that I teach. Have not found anything like it anywhere else. Now, from the culinary side, there's probably a couple of others that do it,
Sure.
because that is a popular thing to think about. How do we cater? How do we put together large meals? If you think about like the President's Tailgate here.
Right.
But I think for what we do in the actual academic study of it all and try to bring in all those aspects, I don't think anybody else is doing it unless
I
they've
mean,
recently modeled after ours.
that's fair. And if somebody's listening to the show and they said, "I know a university that's doing it," send us a message. We would love to learn more about that program as well too,
Absolutely.
because this is fascinating. I went to University of South Carolina 2000 to 2004, and I guarantee you, I don't know if I was in the honors college, but if I had the opportunity to take a tailgating class, that would have been number one thing on my list of things to do with it. I think that's an amazing offering to blend that business because I'm assuming too that with all the research you've done, like tailgating is big business, right? Overall, is
Oh,
is that a fair statement?
absolutely. And I honestly, and that's part of the class we talked about the entrepreneurial opportunities in
Mhm.
tailgating. And Luke, I think as you and I have discussed, I think it's untapped. There are so many opportunities for businesses, and I've watched it grow over the years. When we first started doing this, we floated the idea of someone ought to have a company that sets up the tents and all that stuff for you. Well, within a few years, that became reality, and that
Sure.
business has now exploded. We're very popular, but yes, I mean, there's lots of money to be made from all different angles. My belief in athletics is you don't want to keep charging your customer more and more and more, but you give them opportunities, ways
Right.
they can choose to spend their money. And this is
Sure.
just one of them because it adds to that satisfaction.
Agree. Again, I know I'm not going to a game without tailgating, so it definitely increases my level of satisfaction. I think it's interesting because, like you said, an untapped market. I think it's growing in that respect. But I'll put you on the spot here. Do you have any gee whiz numbers like X amount of people tailgate for college football games, or like this much money is involved with it? Any gee whiz numbers off the top of the head?
Oh gosh, it's a
I know.
multi-million dollar business. And it's one of those things where it's really hard for us to get an exact number on it. I throw some out in class, but I tell the students that you've got to understand these numbers are wholly inaccurate in that they're all too low because
Sure.
there's so many that we're still learning all the different aspects that are related. But the number of people that tailgate skyrockets every year. I think the most important number for people to think about is that we found on an average weekend, between 10 to 20% people more than the capacity of the stadium are out there tailgating. They have no intention of going to the game or couldn't get tickets, but they show up to tailgate. And that's why I mentioned we have over 100,000 at Williams surrounding Williams-Brice tailgating
No
on the
doubt.
weekend. We can only fit in 77,000 these days, but
Right.
we've got that many more out there who want to be part of that tailgating scene. And if you think each one of those persons stopped by the grocery store or stopped by the local restaurant and picked up a tailgate to go box, think
Right.
about the money that's being spent in your community just to tailgate, not in the
Sure.
stadium. So you add together, the food, the parking places, which, man, if you've never been to the University of South Carolina, for your listeners, you need to see these private tailgating events,
Oh, no doubt.
venues that we have set up. That's another great business model that I'd tell anybody to follow, and I wish I'd done it myself. But there's just it's hard to throw some of the numbers out, but it's just tremendous. The percentage of people in the U.S. who will tell you that they tailgate at least once a year is staggering, of how many people actually at least go one time a year, and then the number of people that go every weekend, almost year round to almost any event, that number just keeps
My
growing
kind of
every
people
single
right
year.
there.
Yeah.
All right. Remind me again, what is the official name of the class that you teach?
Oh gosh. It's got a long title, but it's the business implications of tailgating, and we examine it from a sociological and economic, a managerial, and an ethical standpoint.
Do you believe that one day the University of South Carolina will have a degree in tailgating? Not a class, but a degree in am I dreaming too big right now? Go ahead and look at the crystal ball in the future.
Well, I don't know that we'd ever have a degree in tailgating, but if you think about, again, my area, sport and entertainment management, man, if that doesn't describe tailgating, I don't know what does. So if you
Fair.
really want to study, something that kind of detail, sport and entertainment's the way to go. And yes, we can offer that class in tailgating, and we could probably offer an advanced class too. Just dropping that out there.
I like it. I like it. I feel like I need to come back and get some more tailgating knowledge for the University of South Carolina, since it wasn't there when I went to school back in the day. But I love that
Uh,
we as a university are doing that nowadays. It's awesome.
yeah, but you have been the guest speaker in the class, so there we go.
I didn't want to do any shameless like self promotion over here today, but I did have and I appreciate I had the opportunity to speak to a class and the kids were so engaged. Like so engaged. Like you never know sometimes. Like if people are just gonna be like, oh gosh, like 18 to 22-year-olds or whatever the case may be in there, are they gonna be engaged? Are they gonna be whatever? But they were super engaged, had tons of questions, and probably needed more time, right, to continue the good conversations we had. What was that? Probably maybe it was 2 years ago, maybe?
2 or 3, yeah, it was. But it was those are the kind of things, and again, those were the kind of kids, so I was glad you got to see them that are there. I mean, they come from all different angles, and that's the beauty of tailgating, is it is this big melting pot, right?
Sure.
Everybody can come in from every different livelihood, ethnicity, and have a great time and enjoy each other. So class was the same way.
Excellent. Have you had any student go on to pursue, can I say a career in tailgating? Is there anybody that did something, like, amazing, like, in tailgating or sports management or something afterwards that really stands out from your classroom?
Well, we have several, since at least a half of the group that's in there is always going to be sport management. Luckily enough, that it's interesting how many of them are glad they've had the information about tailgating. And even I bring it up in a couple of my other classes as a component of some research to do, or another important component of hosting an event is thinking about these ancillaries. And so they go on now and they take their new jobs and they have a much better understanding of why this is important to do, and why, if your university or your professional team isn't encouraging it or doing something with it, how it's a missed opportunity. So yeah, we've had several go out and talk about, to their new employer, hey, we don't have tailgating, rules and guidelines, and we need to set all these up. And sometimes organizations are hesitant, but
Right.
when they realize why they need to do this and how it protects the organization and enhances the tailgating, they're all in.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so I didn't say this at the onset of this, but shout out to you, Andy, too, because for those that don't know, he is overseas traveling right now, and it's like what, like 2:30 in the morning, and you're like, I will jump on here at any time to talk about
Yes.
tailgating. Amazing.
Yes, I am. It is 2:20 in the morning, so I'm happy to be here with you, but that's how important I think tailgating is.
No, you're putting your money where your mouth is, right? You'll say, this is good stuff to talk about. Tailgating is always something we could talk about, probably any day, night, week, month, year, all that good stuff, too. So, Andy, tell me this. I know you're a big tailgating aficionado now, and we know, right? We know Gamecocks have awesome tailgating. Tell me about another
Of
tailgate or
course.
another school or somewhere you've been that has another amazing tailgate that you would recommend people to check out.
Oh, well, you almost have to immediately mention you have to go to the Grove at Ole Miss.
Okay. It's
Because
fair.
you want to go to tailgates that offer a different experience than what we have. You know, again, it goes without saying we have a fantastic environment at the University of South Carolina, all bias aside. Ole
Sure.
Miss has a really neat setting with the Grove where you don't drive your car in there. You've got to wheel everything in there or
Right.
hire the companies to put it together. And Ole Miss has done a great job over the years of managing that tailgate because it is a massive setup. So
Sure.
that's a good one you have to go to. You have to go to LSU just for the fun. The atmosphere around it is terrific. The other
Right.
fun places I like to go, and I'll be there in a few weeks, will be at Oklahoma State University.
Okay.
Theirs is they're one of the colleges that has the football stadium right on campus, so the tailgating is all over campus.
Nice.
I mean, you talk about a great way to engage your alumni and future students.
All
It's a
right.
really nice setting, and they've done a great job. So those schools are ones I tell people to go visit and go see what can be done because each one of them had to make some changes in the way that they were doing things to make the environment more accommodating
Sure.
and to make to safeguard themselves. Another school that's interesting coming up close by is to go to Mississippi State. There's two Mississippi schools,
Right.
but they've done a neat job. They reconfigured their campus
Okay.
and
I don't know if
and
I
it
was aware
turned
of
it
this.
and yeah, they took out they had the kinda like 5 Points in Columbia, they had what we
Right.
used to call Malfunction Junction, where it was
Sure.
all the roads kinda blurred. They took that out, turned it to a green space, and it is one of the neatest tailgating areas I've been around in a while. So, anyway, all kinds of cool things.
Excellent. No, I didn't know that about Mississippi State, so I need to get down there. Maybe do a 2-for-1 and stay in Mississippi and do both schools while we're there. If we can time that up at some point. Do you,
I think that'd be great.
do you have a bucket list, whether it's an NFL or college campus that you haven't been to but you really want to go to?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to go both to Penn State because I understand they have a terrific tailgating
It's epic.
environment.
I can speak to that. It's pretty awesome up there.
I'd like to go to Notre Dame
I've
and
not
just
been
go
there yet.
see, and that goes more to a historic I wanna see, and, from my standpoint, some events that occurred at Notre Dame actually helped promote the changes that I was involved with about how do we need to do this to make this safer, better, greater environment, so I'd
Sure.
like to go see that one. For the NFL, I've been to New Orleans, I've been to Atlanta, I've gotta go to Buffalo. I have to go see the
Bill's
the Bills
Mafia is different,
Mafia.
aren't they? I mean, it looks. I haven't been yet, but it's on my short list to get up there. Maybe this season to go check out. Guys getting sprayed and ketchup and mustard and jumping through tables. Like it's a
Oh,
different
yeah.
scene.
Yeah, it looks a little bit, active for my taste, so to speak, but I'd
So you
love to
won't be
go
jumping
see
through a
it, you
table.
know? I never say never. At
I love
my
it.
age, it's probably not a good idea, though.
Hey, my age is probably not a good idea at this point, but I digress on that. All right, so we got Buffalo. We got some good bucket list items out there. Let's talk about since you're the doctor of tailgating, let's talk about what in your opinion, is the most important thing to bring to a tailgate? One thing.
Oh gosh, you've got to be open-minded and inviting. How about that?
Okay.
You know,
Got to
you've
bring
got to
it's not a
welcome
tangible item, it's a
everybody in.
headspace.
Yeah, you've got to be in the right mindset. It's not the me or the universe. You know, we hate everybody
Yeah.
else. Man, when you're in your tailgate, that's your front porch. Invite everybody in, enjoy everybody's company, whether they're wearing that orange from that school up north for us, or the the other teams. Invite them in. This is what we're supposed to use sport for anyway, and particularly tailgating. So I think you've
Agreed.
got to have that.
Agreed. Okay, now I'll shift it. So, one tangible item. So you got to have the right headspace. But what's one tangible tailgating gadget, gear? What would you say?
You got to have a tent.
Okay,
You got to have
yeah,
a
you're saying
great
in the
tent.
South you really need one because that sun can be brutal.
Oh, and and even in the varying parts of it, you might be keeping off the rain or keeping off the snow. Who knows?
True.
But I think a good tent that you can lock down, weight down, tie down. Some really cool ones, and I have one that hooks onto the back of the truck. I mean, all of those are great things to have. Then from there, now you can build your tailgate. But I think that's the basic forms. Of course, I think you have to have a terrific cooler. You've got to have great chairs for people. I think if you
Right.
have those, everything else is just, we'd call it lagniappe, right? It's just extra.
Oh,
But if
sure.
you've got those basics there, you can enjoy it, and you've got the basics to have a terrific tailgate. And we can become
Agreed.
super elaborate, but I think with those, you've got to have it. It all starts to me with that tent. You've got to be able to get out of the sun for a little bit.
Fair. All right, Andy. What is the proper amount of time someone should arrive to the tailgate before kickoff? This is hotly debated all the time, depending on who you talk to. How many hours do you need to be there? If the kickoff's at 6, what time should somebody be there? What's the proper time, in your opinion?
Wow, there's a huge factor that comes into that, and it's traffic. You've
Right?
got to know how long it's going to take you to get to, and then might as well add in away from the stadium. Sometimes it's just as long to get out, if not worse, than to get in. So it will depend on that. So I usually would end up going, if we had a 6 o'clock kickoff, we'd be there about 2
Okay.
to be set up and ready to go so we can enjoy it. So I think that 3 hour range is about right, because you're not going to stop at 6. You're going to stop at 5-ish, start breaking things down, start cleaning up, and then
Right.
start your walk to the stadium. So that gives you a good 3 hours to enjoy everybody's company. Now, that's for me, that's my preference. I've got friends that they're going to be there at 8 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game, right? So they're out there
Been
all
there,
day
done that.
long. Yeah.
Yeah. So, because
Uh,
again, I negotiate with my wife sometimes, and she's like, "Oh, we can get there at 2 for it." I was like, "What about getting there at 12 for the 6 o'clock kickoff?" So, trying to find the sweet spot depending on who you're going with.
absolutely. But it is a debatable thing, because now if you go back to my side of the fence, from a management standpoint, that's one of the first things we had to deal with is that, wait a minute, we opened the gates and suddenly our parking lots are full. And it didn't
Right.
matter if it was 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours before kickoff, whatever time we opened, they came. So then it became a matter of what could we budget for to be able to safely accommodate. So it was that gives you, again, tie back to the class, the kind of things that we look at. And that's a big factor.
Fair. All right, Andy, I know since I know you, I know you're a big cook. You're a big food guy. What is your favorite tailgating grub, right? You don't have to worry about making it. You don't
Oh,
have to worry about paying for it, but it's going to show up on your plate. What are you going to pick?
wow. I think my actual favorite thing to have at the tailgate has been chili.
Okay.
Something about that to me just screams tailgate, whether it's 110 or 10 below. It seems to me to be that's what I
110
want to
and chili
have,
seems
right?
kind of crazy, right?
But then all of a sudden you're making that walking taco with that again. My
Okay. Okay.
Frito chili
Okay. I
pie's
got
in
you.
my hand.
So
I
not
mean,
just like eating a
I
bowl of
can make
chili.
yeah, it doesn't have to be. Doesn't
Okay.
have to be. I can make nachos out of that. To me, and you can do, you can have meat chili, you can have chicken chili, you can have vegetarian, you can accommodate a lot of things for a lot of people with a big vat of chili, and that either you make it or I make it. We don't have to cook anymore, and we can keep it hot all day. I mean, some
Right.
of the cool stuff that we have for our tailgates anymore, man, we can keep it warm all day. But I like that. It's hard to beat a good hot dog. I mean,
You can put chili on it.
they get that's what I mean, buddy. Now you're making me hungry. It's 2:30 in the morning and I'm
Two
hungry. Thanks.
midnight munchie time. There you go. There you go. All right. So we know chili is it sounds like a staple of like that's an easy way to do a lot of different things with it. But now
Yep.
what's gonna be in your cup? It's game day, it's tailgating season. You got your cup. What's in it?
Again, depending on the weather, hot weather, it's for me, it's hard to beat a good cold beer. So you're gonna have to have a good cold beer when it's hot. As the season cools, as the
Mhm.
weather cools, my beverage of choice changes a little bit. Uh, Let me throw in there I go back to my administrator days. Always got to have lots of water though.
Sure. That
my
that's a
the
pro
ru-
tip,
the Hey, the rules at my tailgate for every one whatever other drink you had,
right?
one water, and go back
I
and
need
forth
to
the whole
remember that
time. So you
sometimes
don't.
personally. So thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, yeah. It keeps everybody safer.
Fair. All right. Shout out your favorite. Are you brand loyal? Do you like a particular style of beer? Like what does that look like?
I tend to vary. I used to have a little bit of an ownership in one company, so I won't yell that one out. Uh, I like a good lager. I mean, it's for me, it's easy. It's to me that screams tailgating more than some craft beers. Because with craft beers, we're talking about beer now, right? With the craft beer, I'm
Get
more about
thirsty.
appreciating the. Yeah, now I'm thirsty. Thanks. It's more about the appreciating and savoring the drink and all that good stuff. So to me, sometimes I don't necessarily want that at the tailgate, even though if you offer me one, I'm going to take it.
You'll take it.
Uh,
Okay, I got you.
so
I'm with it.
yeah, I like to go local as well. So if we're
Sure.
coming to your place, I'm going to look for a local beer. And I tend to look for the lager because that will go with no matter what we're going to eat. I know
Right.
that's going to work. Whereas if I go to Dublin and I have a Guinness, to me, it may not fit everything I'm going to eat, but I'll still enjoy it.
It's fair. That's fair. All right. We got your food, we got your drink. Now, I need to know tailgating game. What is your favorite tailgating game you've ever played?
I've ever played? Well, you can't get away from cornhole. I mean, in my case,
Iconic.
I have to concede to you here, the king, the world record holder of
I don't know about
all
all that
things
now.
cornhole. But I think to me, because that was really one of the first things we ever did, that and akin to the washer game, where you could just stand and throw and talk, and it wasn't necessarily very serious. So I really enjoyed that. I think any of the games that just, again, that encourage the interaction between the two of us,
Right.
those are the games that are good. So I like those. My favorite's probably still cornhole, probably always will be, even though I think I've played a million different ones. It actually became part of the class where we were going
Oh.
through all the different tailgating games and which ones were missing. And I was amazed at what the students brought in, all the different games, some
What's
of
the
which
craziest one you saw?
the craziest one. I think the one that I don't, the one you play with the frisbee in the trash can,
Oh
where
yeah, I like
it's got a
can jam,
little,
right?
yeah, can jam or all its cousin games that are like it.
Right.
That one's crazy, and that one's evolved. It's turned into all kinds of crazy things. I think cornhole itself has changed,
Sure.
whereas I've seen you play many different variations of it over the years now.
Yeah, you might not see some
It's
of those at the
changed.
tailgate.
I think one of the fun things I like the ring and hook game, and now you
Sure.
can just put it on the side of your car or your truck or your tent.
Oh
You
yeah,
can play that and you can do that for hours, right? And everybody can do it. And think about the
easy.
magnet one is you move it up and down so kids can play. So they're
Right.
not just sitting, not just eating, not just drinking. They're also interacting and playing. Makes it all work well. But yeah, I'm a cornhole guy.
No, that's fair. I love the tailgating games because, like you said, it brings that rapport building, brings people together, a little bit of competition and challenge, like team building when you're on a team, competing against another team as well with it. So I feel like I got to like how you're talking about your class brought in all these games for you all to utilize. What like how does one get graded on your do they have to, are they competing with it? Are they doing a business proposal for the yard games? Like what does that look like for your class with like that yard game aspect or tailgating game aspect?
What was funny with that one was a relatively new addition to it, but we brought that into the entrepreneurial part of it.
Okay.
And it really was to get the grade on it. It was, what did you find? So
Right.
I immediately took cornhole off the table, the original
Sure.
cornhole. Said,
Too
okay, that
easy.
was too easy. You can't have it. I have it. And
Right.
so then it was, what could they find as a variation? And then they did do the breakdown from a cost standpoint, from a space standpoint, because some of these games are great. You mentioned Can Jam, but I need a little bit of room to play
Oh
that
yeah. Sure.
versus how much room do you get with your tailgate. So we began to look at all those different aspects that they had to address, not just here I have this game, let's play. Cost of the game that was involved. I have a good friend up in North Carolina. He has the coin hole where you
Oh
bounce
yeah.
the coin into a small. Yeah,
I have
Jackson
one of
does
those in the
that.
basement.
Perfect. But Jackson does that, and Jackson had actually come to class uh, with us before, and he sent down games so we could play. So we put all those pieces together. So it challenged them again to look. Yes, the games are fun. That was the fun aspect of it. But then to start break down the game. Is this affordable? Can it be customized for the Gamecocks? Right? Yeah, all those
Sure.
things became a factor in their analysis of the viability of that product. Then for them to create one, same thing. You've got to convince me of the business plan. Will this really work? And it was always fun to see what they come up with.
No doubt. I would love to see some of those unique things that they came up with. I know, like Penn State actually did something similar with that, and they sent me the content on there to check out what their students were making in the yard games world. So I was like, that's kind
Wow,
of
cool.
cool. It's kind of cool.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So with that being said, being that we're Gamecock fans over here, if you could tailgate with any current or past Gamecock player, who would it be and why?
Who would it be and why? Well, I have to, Stephen Garcia makes me laugh.
It'd be fun.
So so I'd have to say, Stephen, you have to come join me again, buddy. He'd be funny to be around on top of being a phenomenal player. I don't think it's all the
Sure.
credit for how good he really was. He
And I
was
remember he
he
beat
was a
number one
great.
Alabama that night. That was epic.
Oh, absolutely. He was a great player. You're gonna laugh. I think I'd have to bring Coach Spurrier out there with me, just because
Okay.
he's hilarious. So you wouldn't have to once
Sure.
you get Steve rolling, you wouldn't have to tell any more stories. He's just funny.
Nice.
But there's been a lot of them though. But I think those two would make it funny. And if you put those two together at the same tailgate, just their interaction, you could just sit and watch the whole time if you wanted.
We could do a show on that. All right. I'd love to be a part
Yes.
of it.
Yes.
Oh, good stuff. All right. Well, Andy, tell us like, can people, if they've been listening to this, they were like, you know what? A, I love to tailgate with Andy. I'm sure you can find at University of South Carolina. And B, if they wanted to actually, if somebody wanted to take this class, like, could they do it remotely, or is this all in person, all honors college? Like, and it's going to be pretty hard for anybody outside the school to get into this. Is that? Tell me if
That
I've messed any of that up.
Well, right now, no. Right now, it is only through the honors colleges, only through the seminars. It's not on the
Okay.
books this year, as I'm off gallivanting the world a little bit. Uh, but uh, we have talked in the past about offering it as a open section and making it to where you could attend virtually. So in the future, I think that could happen, where we would love to be able to reach
Excellent.
out and share the knowledge with everybody and anybody. Let them have some fun.
Hey, Andy, one day maybe you and I put on a tailgating seminar and get out there. We preach from the parking lot.
Hey, that would be perfect. Absolutely perfect for us to do that sometime. I think it'd be great.
Oh man, I am all for it. Even if it's just a one-time thing to have a little bit of fun, like being able to learn from the doctor, in case we haven't said that, of tailgating over here. I still think it's like so cool. It's so cool what you were able to do with all of this and be able to like spread some of that knowledge and passion you have for tailgating and taking it deeper, right? The business aspect of our young folks in South Carolina, of how they can take it out and do something bigger with this too. And I think it's awesome too that University of South Carolina is the first university to do something focused on tailgating as an honors class. Go Cox.
That's right. Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, Andy, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We appreciate you getting up at 2 a.m. to hang out with us on the Tailgate Connect podcast. Appreciate you literally dropping some knowledge for all of us that listen to the end of the show today. So thank you for being here. Thank you to our listeners for hanging out with us for the entire time with a doctor of tailgating and a guy that's still training to try to be a doctor of tailgating one day. Appreciate you being here. Hope to see you at a tailgate soon. Have a good one.
Bye, everybody.
Tailgate Connect, it's all here for you. Food, drink, and friends under sky so blue.